Hello and welcome to Produce Talks, the CPMA podcast. I'm your host and CPMA Education Manager, Jason Gorley. Before we get started, I just want to remind you that you can find us on iTunes, and now we're in the Google Play Store. So if you go there and you subscribe or rate and review our podcast, it helps other people to find it. That would be great. Thank you very much for doing that. I just wanted to let you know that you can also check out elearning.cpma.ca to check out everything we're doing with online learning. Now to the podcast. Once again, we're turning the microphone over to Jane Proctor, the Vice President of Policy and Issue Management here at CPMA, for the second part of our conversation with female leaders in the industry. In the second half of this conversation, our panelists provide their advice to young people entering the produce workforce and reflect on the future of the produce industry itself. And now to the conversation with...
So my name is Jane Proctor. I'm the Vice President of Policy and Issue Management here at CPMA.
My name is Angela Santiago, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of the Little Potato Company.
Stephanie Lariviere. I'm in sales and the regulatory manager for Erie James Limited and Sensation Acres, Inc.
I'm Bernadette Hamel, Vice President of National Procurement for Metro Richelieu, Inc.
Beth, Pattillo, King's Produce. I handle marketing there, but also for one of our subsidiaries, Noggin's Corner Farm, I handle all the agritourism and regulatory issues.
One of the things we're trying to achieve through this podcast is to really help young women in the industry or just entering the industry really learn about how they can balance all of their expectations with realities of the industry and the realities of what their lives will be like in the industry, and it is a very unique industry, I think, in many ways. So I'm going to start off asking you, what advice would you give to women just entering or even thinking about entering the produce industry?
I think in general, I would say number one is be your authentic self. Know who you are, know what your strengths are, and build on that. And be who you are. Don't adapt in terms of trying to be something that you're not or like someone. That would be my best advice across the board, regardless of whether it's a male or female, is be your authentic self. Because I think when you can be there, I think you're at your strongest, you're at your most genius, and you're at your most confident. And when you can bring that to a company or an industry, I think you're bringing a gift.
I really have to echo what Angela said. This business is, no matter which way we cut it, is a 24/7, no matter which part of it you're in its own way. If you love what you do, then you bring that passion, you bring that genuineness to the job, and I think that resonates through your relationships with whoever you're dealing with, and it becomes that trust factor that moves you through. If you don't like what you do, then this isn't a business for you. You have to love it, and you have to be genuine about it. And that's why I think all of us in our own ways really enjoy this industry, because of the authenticity, because people are genuine. After 24/7, there's not a whole lot of area for BS left.
Bernadette, from your perspective, what would you say to young women entering the industry now?
Well, to give themselves a chance to know and understand what the job is about, what the product is. Many years ago, we'd hire people who have a produce background. People who are entering into the produce department had to come from a store, or they had to know produce, they had to have worked with it, and they had to have known it. Whereas today, that is not the way it is at Metro. The way our structure is, we have a lot of beginning positions as replenishers who we hire pretty much half and half, and we don't hire because it's a man or a woman. We hire talent. It can be a little tedious because it's learning the basics, and it's you have all of these young people who come in and they're anxious to move and get forward and to go on to promotions and everything. But in the produce industry, there's a lot to learn before you can become like a head buyer or a director. So my advice is to give it a chance, take the time to know it, and then when you do know it, then, you'll have opportunity. We were lucky. For myself, I was raised in it, so I knew everything that there was to know about the product, about the packaging. It's a lot to know. It's a lot to get to know. So I'd say just give yourself time, and you'll see that there's a rainbow at the end of the road, because it's an amazing industry.
Amazing industry, and one that is certainly not getting any less complicated.
No, that's for sure. As we go, it's getting more and more complicated.
So, Stephanie, you're in a somewhat unique position on the call because you went through our Passion for Produce program, in which you and some other people that were relatively new to the industry went through the program, that mentorship program. So I'm just wondering, from your perspective, and based on not just that experience, of course, but your experience in the industry, what you would say to women that are just thinking about or just entering the industry?
I would say be resilient. If it's one thing that's constant in this business, it's change. You have to be unafraid of failures or mistakes. You can't be afraid to fail or make a mistake because you really never lose. If you do have a failure or a mistake, you either win or you learn. So it's important that you're not afraid of your mistakes and that you use those as learning opportunities and turn them into something positive. And lastly, I would say give back. So volunteer leadership. I've had the wonderful opportunity of going through the Passion for Produce program and then giving back through being a PFP alumni or even in the Career Pathway program. So give back, because what you give back will come back to you over and over again in this industry.
And it's time once again to check in with our sponsor for the podcast, Nature Fresh Farms. And on the line, I have Ray from Nature Fresh. Ray, how's it going?
Going very well. We're very excited about the start of the summer with our Greenhouse Education Center now making its way through southern Ontario, and within the next week in the Ottawa area. Greenhouse Education Center is drawing a lot of attention to the consumers that want to know where their produce is grown and how it's grown. We look forward to visiting more sites for the summer months. For those who want to learn more about where our trailer is, please access our new webpage at naturefresh.ca and follow the Greenhouse Education Center on site there, as well as on Facebook and Twitter.
What if somebody wants to know if the Greenhouse Education Center can come to their neighborhood? What's their best bet?
Put the request into their retailer. Let them know that we need to have the participation of the retailer. So I guess by asking the produce manager, hey, can we have it here?
And so that website again is naturefresh.ca, and we'll put a link in the description of this podcast. Thanks, Ray.
All right. Have a good weekend.
And now back to the podcast.
As you look down the road for the next 5 to 10 years in our industry, what would you say you think our opportunities and our challenges will be?
Well, we can start with harmonization across industry in terms of global best practices, and that can apply to many things, food safety. Consumers nowadays with online and social media are becoming more and more engaged in what it is they're putting into their bodies. They're very informed. There's a big growth in ethnic populations and product diversity, so people are becoming more interested and more informed, using social media, talking about what they're eating, checking for things online before they buy them, reading about things. There's definitely a growing consumer interest in eating healthy. So keeping up, I think, with all of the buzz and all of the social media, and using that to further our industry and really take advantage of those platforms. Also keeping our youth engaged and interested in entering this industry, a succession planning. There is an aging workforce up at the top in some areas, and so getting our youth interested in what the career paths are and how to get there. I think there's some outreach there that can probably be done to educate them on how they get to be a head buyer or how they get to the top of being in the produce industry.
One of the opportunities that I definitely see, and just playing off what Stephanie just said, is I think we're really heading into where there's going to be a diverse workforce, from ages to genders to backgrounds to cultural. And I think that's super exciting because it is a much more global playing field. So that comes from different types of food, different types of people coming together. So I think those are two great opportunities that the produce industry's got ahead of it.
Like both Stephanie and Angela, I think the workforce is no question diverse. Whether it's male, female, whether it's a two-headed dragon or a three-headed dragon, we need to look at how we engage those individuals in our organizations and give them the challenges and the diversity they're looking for. As I look forward and as we bring young people into our organization, I think what impresses me is the diversity of their interests. They want to know about the whole thing, not just about what their job is, but about the organization. So I think it will challenge all of us to meet those questioning young minds as we move forward. And then how do we create organizations or structures within our organizations that will satisfy those questioning young minds?
I think a great opportunity is that people are eating more and more produce. So we're very lucky where we have some continual growth because people are turning more and more to produce because everyone wants to eat healthier. There's also weight. People want to be on a good diet, a healthy diet. So I think we're very lucky to be in this industry. We're getting more and more exposure. Like I know that Metro is looking into going more and more focus on produce and pushing that as being our driver into our store. So we are very lucky in that sense. The challenges that I foresee in the industry in procurement is the weather is becoming more and more challenging every year. We have all kinds of different situations that make product extremely rare and tight. So we're forced to have a broader vision as to where we'll be able to go for supply. So the world is becoming a smaller place, and we are having to procure produce from places that we never had to go before. Also, being such a very competitive industry, it's also forcing us to go further abroad to develop more and more direct links with direct growers all over the world. Big process to put in place, but I must tell you that for all of the young people that I have in the office, they are thriving on it. It is such a big challenge to them, so I think there's more positive than negative for the 5 to 10 years to come in the produce industry. There's definitely challenges because there's more and more demands of, like we're looking at dealing with suppliers who are careful of the environment, who are careful with their employees. It's being pushed further and further to make sure that we're dealing with the right people who are also giving back to their communities. It's very interesting, but I think it's a good thing.
What all of you have touched on is this is an ever-changing industry, an extremely dynamic industry, and certainly one where we know we'll have lots of challenges, but hopefully lots of gains as we go forward, especially as you were saying about the focus on health, that I think our industry is best positioned perhaps to take the winnings in that area. Kennedy, if there's things you haven't touched on that you'd like to say now, kind of last words, parting words of wisdom.
Well, I can just say that I've spent 32 years at Metro. I have had hard times, but the good times outweigh those by far, and I just consider myself very, very lucky to have traveled the career path that I have traveled, and I hope that every woman who really has their mind and heart set on becoming involved in the produce industry get the opportunities, the chances that I had in my career, and very good people like Metro who take care of their employees, and they see that if you really want to work hard and they will give you the opportunity to grow. So I'm just very thankful for that.
I guess at times it can feel sometimes that I'm, surrounded by a male-dominated industry only because of maybe the region I come from. But when things get tough or rough, I've always tried to just not let the boys get under my skin. You have to kind of tell yourself that anything they can do, I can do too. And if I can't do it, I will learn to do it and maybe even learn to do it better.
I think just in general, my experience of being in the produce industry, I mean, this wasn't my career path when I was 20-something years old, but I wouldn't leave it for anything. There is something very humbling and guilt-free about growing and selling something that is actually good for people. So we're all part of, I think, feeding people better, and that's, I think, something very proud to be part of.
The last word and the last word is that this is probably one of the most special industries in which friends are competitors, competitors are friends, whether you're a grower, a shipper, a retailer. And we all want the same thing, for people to eat more fruits and vegetables. And the friendships and the camaraderie across this country in the produce industry is quite something. And I think all of us could take a trip across the country and know that you have friends almost everywhere. And I'm not sure that there are very many industries that could say that.
All right, so that's the end of the interview. But before we go, I'm being joined by Selena Karkash, who's the marketing coordinator here at CPMA, to tell us all about the Fresh Health Award.
Hi. So the Fresh Health Award is an award that we give out monthly to organizations or to companies who are promoting Half Your Plate or the Fredgy Children's Program through their marketing efforts to encourage overall consumption of produce.
So it's really somebody just talking about a cool thing that they're doing with Half Your Plate or Fredgy.
Absolutely. If you guys have Fredgy attending an event, or if you're doing a Half Your Plate event, if you put it on your packaging, if you have posters, we want to hear about it.
And do they have to be a CPMA member to participate?
You do not have to be a CPMA member to participate.
If our listeners want more information on this, where can they find it?
Absolutely. So you can email me at skarkash@cpma.ca.
And I think you're here to tell us all about our winner for June.
Absolutely. So our June Fresh Health winner is Algoma Public Health. They have been using the Fredgy program a lot over the last few years, and this summer they're doing something very cool with their local farmers market. They're doing a Fredgy scavenger hunt. So kids will get there, and Fredgy will be there himself, and the kids will have clue cards that Fredgy will guide them through to explore the farmers market, try some new produce, learn about the produce that's there. They're also going to be giving out some stickers and some magnets and some t-shirts for people who are accompanying Fredgy.
Great. Thanks, Selena.
Thank you.
And that's it. That's all that we have on the podcast this month. I'd like to thank Angela, Bernadette, Beth, Stephanie, and Jane for being a part of this podcast, as well as our sponsor, Nature Fresh Farms, for continuing to collaborate with us. We want to also thank you for listening, and we want to hear from you. What do you like? What don't you like? What should we be talking about here on Produce Talks? You can email us by emailing podcast@cpma.ca, or use the link on our website to fill out a form. Until next time, make a healthy choice. Fill half your plate with fruits and veggies.